Man, it's a beautiful day once again. February 8th. The lawn looks beautiful. Can't complain. Man, spring is right around the corner, guys. And as you know, I've been trying to figure out a way to compost at home. And if you checked out my Dahlia video, you'll see in the beginning of that, Joyce introduced me to something new. It's called vermicomposting. So after I did that episode, I wanted to know more about vermicomposting. So I looked up the composter that she had right there on site, which happened to be the 360 Worm Factory. I did a little bit of research for the website, but it's called Nature's Footprint. And over at Nature's Footprint, there's this guy over there named Ralph. And Ralph came up with a way for homeowners to compost using the scraps from your kitchen and have viable worm castings to place in your potting that you're doing in the home. Let's say if you're doing little seedlings and whatnot, you want to start those off. Even if you just want some rich compost to apply to your garden beds, this is probably going to be the product for you. So I discovered who Ralph was. I reached out to him. I told him about how I heard about his product, and Ralph, being such a gracious guy he is, he decided to just send me one. For one, this knife is very dull. You know what's more dangerous than a sharp knife? A dull knife. You freaking stab yourself. There's only like one kind of semi-sharp side to this knife. We're gonna make it work though. But anyway, Ralph was very adamant about informing me that, you can buy this from other places. And speaking of prices, this costs $124.95 in Amazon. Just the starter, not without the starter kit, this is $124.95. What does that mean? That means it comes with the worm bins itself. Now, if you want the startup kit, which I believe is what Ralph sent me, including some extra reading literature, then that's gonna run you $139.95, right? So this is it. This is our price. So Ralph explicitly said, one thing that I'm doing that these guys can't do that want to mimic his product is they can't do this. You see all of this? You see all this reading material he gave me here? Smart soil separator, remineralization. He's got all these reading materials, reading products that just come right here, ready to go. And he's a funny guy. They're just like a really nice couple. I've never met them, but I just know from the interactions I've had with them on the phone that they're very nice people. And yeah, that's it. So let's get this unboxed real quick and see what we're working with. I already picked up my worms from Joyce. Yep, got my tea right here. Oh, and he sent me a moisture meter. Look at that. It comes with 4 trays, right? Easy peasy. But you can stack up to 8 trays, which stacking up to 8 trays makes it the most compact DIY household vermicomposter on the market, hands down. Now, I believe this goes here. I'm gonna get the instructions, but I already saw Joyce's, so pretty sure it was like that. And then this is where we need to develop our bed. As you can see right here, guys, it has this like little nozzle, and that's so the moisture can drain off of it. I know that much as well already from Joyce's. And this worm ladder, I think it goes here. We'll see. All right. So let's see what the top of this says. So on the top of the Worm Factory, as you can see, you get a nice good shot of that right there. Gives us some tips right here on the top, just for easy remembering. One thing that I'm gonna avoid doing from the beginning of establishing this worm factory, my worm factory, is I'm not gonna bring any outside things inside of it, just because I wanna keep the risk of introducing just nasty insects and bugs that I don't want in there. So I'm gonna do everything from out of the home for now. That was one recommendation that both Ralph and Joyce gave me getting started with my worm factory. So I'm gonna heed to their advice, and I'm gonna continue moving forward with it. All right, so that's a quick rundown so far on the worm factory. What else do I have? So another reason why Ralph really wanted to invent this is so we can reduce the amount of waste that we're throwing in landfills every year. So it's environment friendly and it's economically friendly, this worm factory as a whole. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna prep the bedding for my brand new baby worms and get them settled in here, and we're gonna run through the rest of the things that they gave us here in this kit.
When does this happen in the movie? Now. You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now. What happened to then? Past that. When? Just now. We're at now. Go back to then. When? Now. Now? Now. I can't. Why? We missed it. When? Just now.
Leave a light on for the first 2 to 3 days. This will discourage the worm. Okay, so yeah, because they don't like light. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's get the bedding prepped, laid down. I don't think I have any newspaper. I'm about to go in the house and see if I got any. I'll be right back, all right? All right, guys, so I'm back. Like I said, I knew I didn't have any newspaper. I knew that. But I have something that should be just as good, if not better. But this is a USDA approved brown paper that it's approved to use on food. So if it's approved to use on food, I think we're good here. Make sure that's seated. So I'm gonna opt to just soak it in the bin because I have a drain on it. So we'll just wet it up right there. I think we should be good there. Cool. This is for when I get ready to make compost tea. So if you're not familiar with compost tea is, that's okay because neither am I, and we're gonna learn it together. Because I'll be honest, I don't know what any of this stuff is. I just became fascinated with it, and Ralph, such a good guy, he sent me one over for the channel. Thank you, Ralph, appreciate that. Great guys. All right, so, but this right here is for when you're doing your compost tea. So we have the coconut fiber, and what we're gonna do is break this in half, right? And then we're gonna take half of this and mix it up in there once we get this straight. So I'm gonna just try to break it right here in the package, which it broke very easy. This dense coconut fiber. Let me get my dull, my dull knife. Open that up. It's cool though, right? A little flip in, flip out. It's like, That's illegal in some places. Hopefully it's not illegal here. I definitely haven't checked. So, it never leaves the house, so cool. All right, so he said the instruction says add 1 cup of water, right? But I know from most of the videos I've seen on YouTube that it actually takes more than a cup of water. No big deal there, but the idea is to break it down, and it almost turns into like what resembles some type of soil, to be honest. That's what it looks like to me. So I'm just gonna crumble it up inside this water and just rehydrate it as much as possible. Then I'm gonna take the newspaper. Take half of that. I'm glad he sent me this because like we already discovered, I don't have newspaper here. Yeah, that looks about half full. So we just gave them organic material, which is also fiber, plus some more fiber, which, I mean, this is organic material too. So we just gave them a whole bunch of organic material. Then we're gonna give them some breathing help with this pumice. This pumice. If you guys watch Rick and Morty, every time I say pumice, I think of the plumbus.
Today on How They Do It, plumbuses. Everyone has a plumbus in their home.
The plumbus. Let me check that out. Plumbus. How do they do it? Gosh, this bag is really being difficult. I forgot I had this dull knife over here. Let me just use that. There we go. And then let's do about half the bag of the pumice. So I'm gonna mix this. You gonna grab that for me? Yeah. Appreciate it. Perfect. It says 1 to 2 cups, so I'm gonna do 1 to 2 handfuls. And then we should be good. Call it good. No need to overcomplicate that. Just mixing it up real good. And I mean, to be honest, we're looking like we're making potting soil right now. So we have our bedding for our worms. And it also says once we place them in here, I know these guys are angry, right? Because they've been all over the place for the past 24 hours. Once we place them in here, we don't really want to bother them for at least 2 to 3 days as they get nice and comfy in their new home. Additionally, we want to turn the light on wherever we're placing them, because that's going to also keep them from venturing outside of their little home that we just made for them. So these are the worms. Let's stir them up a little bit so I can let you see some real quick, but they're in there. They're all in there, right? See them? You can order some worms right off of Amazon. They are freaking expensive, especially when you're comparing them to getting some bait and going fishing, like grabbing some night crawlers or some earthworms and going fishing. I remember my parents, when they had a store, we had a gas station and we would sell the worms. We could barely ever keep them. What was those worms? Blood worms. No, blood worms, I don't know how much blood worms cost. I don't remember. I know they were a little bit more expensive for those, for the containers of blood worms. But as far as how comparably expensive to red wigglers, I mean, night and day difference for sure. So I'm just kind of stirring them up, upsetting them to kind of let them know they're somewhere new. And then I'm going to close them up and leave them alone. But there we go. We got our bed. Oh, no, we're not done. We need our minerals. So let's get some minerals in there. Said about a tablespoon, so we're gonna eyeball that. I'm pretty confident we can eyeball a tablespoon. Yeah, that looks about right. I'm gonna douse it with a little bit of water, a little extra water. And then we gotta cover it up with this too. So I know they don't like the sun, so I'm gonna go ahead and hide them from the sun. We'll slide this over here. So this is our cover sheet right here. We're just gonna soak this up and cover it up to make sure that they stay moist. Because once they dry out, that's it. They breathe through their skin, so they must remain moist. All right, we're almost done with this. So we'll be checking in on these worms, not maybe every episode. We'll see how it goes. Every once in a while, we'll get a nice little update and see what my first layer is doing. And, you know, maybe I'll give you an update when I feed them here and there. And, of course, when you want to see them, let me know. You'll be able to see them. So we're going to put this right over this. It's nice and wet and moist, damp. Cover them up, and we're done. All right, guys, let me show you where I ended up storing it and let you see. Okay, so as you can see, it's gonna go right here in this corner in my little closet that I have here. It's just like an overflow closet, but like I said, this closet stays the same temperature as the house. So that's why I'll be using it here. I'm gonna put a little bucket down here to catch any drainage that comes out. I'll probably just use that watering bucket that he gave me, but that pretty much wraps this up. Thanks for checking in again at Turf Therapy, where we are healing lawns and souls. And I'll see you next time for your weekly dose of therapy with Rob.
When does this happen in the movie? Now. You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now. What happened to then? Past that. When? Just now. We're at now. Go back to then. When? Now. Now? Now. I can't. Why? We missed it. When? Just now.